Hey, what's up guys, it's Macho MMA with another predictions video. Today I'll be looking at 3 fights on the UFC 260 card and give you my predictions. Unfortunately, the featherweight title fight between Alex Volkanovski and Brian Ortega was postponed due to COVID, and that sucks because that was one of the fights that I was looking forward to the most, and that deals a huge blow to the card, but there's still some good fights on there, so let's go ahead and just check those out. But before we get started, don't forget to like the video, and if you like content like this, you should subscribe because I put out a video for almost every UFC event. Alright, let's get right into it. Sugar Sean O'Malley faces off against Thomas Tominios Almeida. Both guys were huge prospects coming into the UFC. The undefeated O'Malley had a huge setback in his last fight as he was TKO'd by Marlon Vera, while Almeida has had a rough run against the top talents of his division, most recently losing a decision loss to Jonathan Martinez where he was pretty much outclassed. No disrespect to Almeida, but I feel like this is kind of meant to be a tune-up fight for O'Malley. But a portion of the blueprint of beating O'Malley has been revealed a little bit, so it has the potential to become very, very interesting. Sean O'Malley is a tall, lanky fighter. His striking is very versatile. He uses a lot of feints and a lot of kicks, and he switches stances a lot to give his opponents a lot of looks to think about. He uses his length in both his punches and his kicks very well. He's so tall for the division, and against Thomas is going to be a huge advantage. I think the biggest threat to Almeida will be the punches. I think the feints will confuse and kind of freeze him. He tends to get touched a lot through his guard and at the end of his punches after he finishes throwing. Almeida has been working on his grappling, but I don't think it's effective enough yet to be able to take and hold Sean down. I'm not sure he even has a takedown in the UFC yet if I think about it. So he's going to have to find something on the feet. I think the only path to victory for Almeida is to exploit the one thing that's been consistently hurting O'Malley, and that's his legs. He should try to dismantle the legs because being that lanky has its disadvantages of being prone to getting damaged a lot easier. If Almeida can quickly work on the legs, he might have a chance to land something or possibly get a takedown and work from there. He would have to do that while avoiding all the offense O'Malley is going to throw at him, and I just don't see him being able to carefully execute a plan like that will get him the win. I think the Sugar Show returns to its normal programming by dispatching Almeida. O'Malley by knockout. Tyron the Chosen One Woodley faces off against Vicente the Silent Assassin Luque in the co-main event. Willie's looking to bounce back after back-to-back losses to Gilbert Burns and Colby Covington, while Luque is looking to further his newfound momentum after wins over Randy Brown and Nico Price. This is actually a great matchup for both guys. This is the best matchup for Woodley since the Till fight. Someone who is not going to look to his wrestling and isn't a precision type of guy. Luque is as scrappy as they come and is willing to get hurt to put on the hurt. Woodley's recent spell of bad performances could mean that Luque could come forward and hunt him down with shots, but that also invites Woodley's power to be a factor once again. This is a good matchup for both guys, but it's the best matchup for us, the fans. Woodley has been way too patient in his last fights. He let himself get pushed back to the cage and seemed to be waiting for that one shot to end it all. He was the perfect opponent for the contenders in this division as there are a lot of wrestlers. Burns picked him apart perfectly on the feet. I have no doubt in my mind Luque would not shoot for a takedown unless he absolutely has to. I think Luque can absolutely land some nasty shots on Woodley, but doesn't have the finesse and skill to do it without taking damage as well. I don't think Woodley has a dynamite in his hands like he used to, but I'm pretty sure he still has power. Burns has a decent chin, but he ate a couple of those bombs without issue. Luque is pretty durable as well, but I do think if he is careful, he can reduce the amount of shots he eats. I think if this somehow ends up on the ground, Woodley will have the advantage. I think due to Woodley's decline in performance, a lot of people are completely counting him out, but this matchup is actually a very close one. I think Luque will be much more active and Woodley will look for the home run, and the odds that he gets it is pretty good, to be honest. In order for him to get there, he has to be a bit more active, and I don't have a lot of confidence he will do that. I think this is a close matchup, but I think Luque will be patient and land the better shots. The Silent Assassin quietly disposes of the Chosen One. Luque by decision. In the main event, Stipe Miocic faces off against Francis the Predator Ngannou. This is a rematch of their first matchup where Miocic outclassed Ngannou to retain his title. Miocic is coming off a successful title defense against Daniel Cormier, while Ngannou is coming off a first-round demolition of Jairzinho Rozenstruik. This matchup seemed inevitable as both guys continued their careers. Miocic went on to have the trilogy against DC, while Ngannou has dispatched Blades, Kane, JDS, and Rozenstruik all in the first round. This matchup is so difficult to call because there are so many question marks. For Stipe, he was able to eat some hard shots from Francis and survive, but since then, he has taken so much damage in the trilogy with DC. He was knocked out cold in the first. He went to war with him in the second and third. Will his chin still be as durable as before given all that damage? And he fought almost a perfect fight the first time. Will he try to replicate? it, or will he change up the game plan? And with Ngannou, has he actually improved? He's been training with new people, bettering his skills, sharpening his blade, but we haven't been able to see any of it, as all his fights have ended very early. He has Usman helping him with his wrestling, and even has had a little bit of help from Jake Shields for his ground game, but we have yet to see any of it in full. Even though he has trained with Usman, he will never get to Usman's level, in all honesty, being honest. But even if he has figured out the basics like sprawling and getting the hooks in and figuring out how to get back step by step, it'll leave him in a way better position than last fight. In the last fight, he has said that he froze, and you can kind of see it. He wasn't relaxed in there, and once the fight goes longer, he looked so lost. And that was a huge part due to Stipe. I think technically Stipe has the advantage in the striking, but Ngannou definitely has the power edge, as he has over every other human being on this planet. And Stipe has the advantage in the clinch and the ground, I think. I think for sure Ngannou will be a bit more well-rounded than in the first fight. Both guys have shown the ability to be able to analyze and download data during their fights. I do think Stipe is a little better at it, and he has better IQ, I think, due to his experience. But Stipe always gets touched during his fights, and he will sure get touched in this fight. I honestly do not see this fight going the distance either way. I think someone gets finished this time around. I think Ngannou's ability to remain on the feet will allow him to hurt Stipe a bit more, and that will prove the difference. Man, but as I'm saying this, I just don't know, honestly. It's going to be so close, and I always hate doubting Miocic. But I think I'm going to have to stick with Francis for this one. I think the Predator locks on and exacts his revenge to become heavyweight champion. Ngannou by knockout. Alright guys, those are my predictions for UFC 260. There's going to be some nice fights on this card and the biggest, baddest rematch. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell me your own predictions in the comments below. And as always, let me know what you think and who you got. Take care.